Because I'm so
Impact.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Impact.
See if I can get up one more time.
600 yards, giant silhouette. Yeah. Far right side. I'm gonna call it impact.
Nice. Impact. Saw that. All right, cool.
All right, so we're doing a little match prep today. I'll be out here with Taylor. He's trying to get off work so he can get over here to link up with me, and we're gonna run through some positional work, confirm data for both him and I. I already went out and confirmed my zero, made sure my zero was still good, and grouped it just to see where I'm at so I know what I'm working with as we get into this. Probably won't clean the gun between now and the match. We leave for the match on Saturday, and then we're gonna shoot Quantified Performance Sunday, and we'll see how we do. Feeling pretty good. Been working on positional work a lot. That's where I really struggled. So we're gonna dial in some things today, try some stuff out, see what we can figure out. But first, I'm gonna confirm my data out of my Kestrel, make sure that it's correct out as far as I can go before anybody gets here, and then we'll start working positional stuff. But I wanted to bring you guys along so you could see what some of the match prep and class prep looks like as we go do these scope carbine things together, all the SPR things, all the recce things, whatever you want to call it. But out here to have a good time and show you guys some footage. To start off with, I'm going through my Kestrel with the known distances, and I'm basically I've calibrated for the weather, and I'm just checking to see that the data we have in here is still good. If it's not, we'll go back and we'll calibrate muzzle velocity, and then we'll cal DSF, and just to make sure that the input that we're getting is good, or the output we're getting is good. So right now, just going through, writing all those down. I'll dial each one of them, check them, and then as long as it's good, then we move on from there and start working on positional work and holding and all that. Okay, very good there. Very good there. Is it? Very good there. Man, that wind is blowing down there. I think Taylor called. Let's see what he needs. So I forgot to push record after Taylor got here, but I walked out to 860. Data's good there. The wind is really blowing down there. Kestrel's telling me it was 2.5. It was more like 3 down there. So we're getting shielded a little bit where we're at, which means it's more down there. But anyways, data's good. Taylor's got to chrono his gun, and we're going to do all that to make sure his data's good, and then we'll get into positional work. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a voiceover here just to kind of help you see some of the nuances of what we're working on as we're going through this, because it's easy to see the positions we're getting into. It's easy to see the target that we're going after. The hard part is to see the small things that we're working on or testing out. So for me, one of the things that I'm working on, I've been doing a lot of work in dry fire, my positional work, reducing that wobble zone. And even now, I'm still, there's still some things I need to clean up on that. But one of the things I'm working on is finding that balance between recoil management and reducing the wobble zone. Because sometimes when we put ourselves in a really good position to have good recoil management, the wobble zone is a little bit bigger because there's so much input into the gun. So trying to get a good body position so that there's very little or reduced wobble zone from what I've had in the past. And that just allowed me to get on target faster and to get my holds back. The other thing too is working on my breathing. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But here's Taylor. So Taylor is testing out a few different things. So he was working on different bags. He was working on using his sling versus not using his sling. He's working on push versus pull. A few different things. He even tested out a little bit of dialing versus holding. Taylor is very much a dial for the target versus holding. I've been working almost exclusively on holding, just because it's a skill that I want to develop better. I know that I can dial, so for me it's a matter of developing that skill of actually holding, so that just requires me to do it more. Taylor, on the other hand, sticks to dialing, and that just works better for him. He's more comfortable with that. We tested it both ways, and he just did better dialing, so I think he's going to do that this next match.
Four? Huh?
Impact.
So I missed how many?
2 or 3. 2. Shit, you gotta know. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep track of other things. 4707.
2 and 4707.
4707. So we are putting ourselves on the clock here as we test these things out, and we're taking that with a grain of salt because the more we do this, obviously the faster we're going to go. But the other thing too is taking our input of like what we saw in the reticle, which you guys can see here, but also what we felt, like how stable did I feel when I took that shot, how confident was I when I took it. And you can tell that as I feel more confident in some of these shots that I'm taking, I immediately move off target before I even see the impact, because I know that I've made that shot, because I felt really good about my position. I felt really good about my hold. I felt really good about the trigger press. Everything felt good. So I'm trying to move in and out as quickly as I can so that I'm more efficient in my movements. The other thing too that I was talking about earlier is working on breathing. So breathing is something I struggle with, where I tend to tense up and hold my breath. So you'll see me kind of reset on some of these. As it gets further in this, you'll see me take a pause, take a deep breath, and allow it to reset so that I'm in a better position. So I'm not like straining, trying to hold that position.
Get the big film at that. You're gonna be
The big one?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Go. I don't know how they're scoring this of each your hits. Come on, finish strong class.
Missed all 6, right?
Yeah, 47, 48.
Yep, not running that back. I got lost in it and I was swaying.
Now, as we're going through all this, we're not trying anything too crazy. This is all stuff we've been either working on in dry fire or working on in our practice. We're not trying anything like new, nothing drastic. This is more of just like refining stuff that we've already been working on and seeing what works. Because ultimately, we can practice everything in dry fire. The one thing we can't replicate, though, is recoil management. So this is the only opportunity we get to see, hey, did that thing that we've been practicing in dry fire work out? Did it pan out? And that was a big thing for me, especially like as I'm going through this, figuring out what things actually made a difference in my wobble zone, what things didn't, what made me more stable, what didn't. And then once I figured that out, once I settled on, hey, look, this thing, like for me, you'll see me go double kneeling now a lot versus going one knee up. And that's simply because it puts me in a more stable position when it's super windy. For everybody else, it may be different. You may be more stable with one knee up and one knee down, so that way you can rest your firing hand on your knee. But for me, with the wind gust being as light as I am, it moves me around side to side quite a bit. Going double kneeling, being able to spread my feet and spread my knees out a little bit, gives me a more stable base. I felt more confident taking those shots. But I'll let you guys finish watching the rest of this, and then I'll chime in at the end.
Tell like consistently fine, just like S and D.
Impact. Impact.
That's funny. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, like I said, my first couple shots, I was just like, oh, apparently I don't need to.
3 hits. 107.
Go. Right on the head. Like, this thing's really freaking high. Yeah, you just like whacked it in the face. That's nice. All right, you want to go? Where do you want to spend it? Let's try.
Impact, I think caught the edge of it. Edge of it again. I'm giving it to you, and that's what it looks like. I'm gonna call that impact.
So 3 and what time?
Shit.
103.
Third time. Go.
Okay. I'm gonna hold no wind at this one.
Impact. Impact.
So that was our last training session before we head to Quantified Performance. I've actually got my stuff all packed up. I've got to load it in the truck and head out. But my biggest takeaway from that was at the end of the day, Taylor and I were kind of diagnosing and going through the things that we worked on, what worked, what didn't. And one of the things Taylor said to me was like, you look so much better going into this match than you did the previous match. And I think it's easy to forget that as we're training and as we're preparing and going through these things, we oftentimes lose sight of how much progress we've made. And so I do feel more confident. I feel better about going into this match. It is a different match, different competition. This is a more established division and match. So we'll see how we stand against these people. I mean, we obviously want to go in there and win, but we are fully prepared to go in and get our teeth kicked in because we don't know what we're stepping into. Very excited about it. Very excited to put to the test some of the things I've been working on and really continue to develop this skill. But that's the biggest thing about these matches and about particularly long range. Like, you have to get out and test yourself. And I was actually having this conversation with somebody else the other day. As civilians, we don't really have an opportunity to test the skill set of shooting outside of competition. So it's really important for all of us to be able to get out and get into competition for whatever style of shooting we're doing, to test ourselves, to push, so that way it shows our weaknesses so that we can get better. I mean, you can say whatever you want about competitions. I've been very vocal about things I don't like about competitions, but it is a great way to test ourselves. So I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to Quantified Performance. Don't really know what to expect from it. We will have a whole match vlog coming on it, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Karate chop that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one.
We need. I need ammo. Hope we don't do that in the match.
What? Come here. They haven't seen you in like forever. Look, he's a grown man now. Look, we're almost the same size. Oh my goodness, James, we're almost the same size. Can you say hi?
Hi.
They haven't seen you in forever. Look at your hair. Show me your haircut. Your haircut looks so good. Looking fly today. Looking super fly. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, but don't yell at him. Don't yell at him. You can just talk to him. Can you say hi? Do you like Daddy's new?
Hi.
You like Daddy's new office?
Why does the red appear?
The red or the mic?
The red one up.
Oh, the red one up there. It just says it's recording.
Because there have a with see?
Oh, that's the microphone. So when you talk too loud and it's gonna hurt their ears, it goes into the red.
And when
it stays in the white, we're good.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Can you tell them bye?
bye.
Say rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
All right, let's go.